I've literally told this kid 50% of it's under 200,000. 100 times. 100 times. I don't know, like, I'm obviously doing...
Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember, when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 110. I can't believe it. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I will be joined shortly by Jamil Damji. He will be in studio here, and Pace Morby, who will be hopping on, having a little bit of technical difficulties, but will be hopping on at any moment. So it gives us time to really get everybody engaged in the comments section. I want you all in the comments section to make sure that you let everybody know where you do business. And if you have some speciality, right? You have mastered whatever it is, whether it be wholesaling or sub-2 or seller financing or fix and flips or development, whatever it is, I want to make sure that you put it in there so that people can squad up with you and connect, because that is the point of this show. The point of the show is to connect with each other, because this is all about collaboration. It is not about competition. And that's what I want to bring up this quote, because I absolutely love this quote. And this is from Mary Kay, and she was old school sales. She had a huge pharmaceutical company before the Kylie Jenners were out there. There was Mary Kay, and she said this, and I absolutely love it. Pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says, "Make me feel important." Not only will you succeed in sales, you will succeed in life. And I think that this is very interesting, right? This is very interesting because oftentimes we feel like it's us against them when we're negotiating with a property owner. Or how about this? The topic of today, building a robust and unbelievable cash buyer database. How about when we're working with cash buyers? How are we making them feel important? Obviously, by providing the best opportunities in the marketplace for them, right? But also, how are we communicating? How do we know what they're looking for? How do we know what their speciality is? Because I will tell you this, without a doubt, real estate, being a real estate investor, being a real estate entrepreneur, there are levels to this game. And it all comes down with understanding different exit strategies, understanding and recognizing potential. I've said it last week. I'll say it this week. I'll say it every single week till the end of time. Recognizing potential is so incredibly important. Speaking of recognizing potential, we have the best of the best on here. Pace Morby jumping on. What's up, brother?
Do I have potential?
It's recognizing potential. That's what you teach. That's your whole thing, right?
Yes,
Instead of just going cash as is offers as one shot. What about if somebody has a good property, but they want full market value for it? You know, what do you do then? How do you make income on these deals? There's so many different paths, whether it be referring it to a real estate agent or listing it yourself or doing a creative deal where you're giving them or the Morby method or novation agreements or sub-2 or whatever else it is. But that's how you build your experience in this game, is by understanding what exit strategies your cash buyers, when you're starting out in this business, what exit strategy your cash buyers are implementing. Because the more you understand how they're implementing it, the more deals that you can do that other people will pass up on them because they don't recognize the potential.
I love that. There was a deal I did like 4 years ago, and I had a mobile home. This is so freaking hilarious. You know that big mobile home development I did with Jesse and Evo of Batch Leads a couple of years back, that 50 lot deal that we did? So it was about 2 years prior to that, I run into a mobile home on land, and I didn't have the ability to lock it up at any lower price. And and the seller wasn't open to creative finance. They needed to like pay for a back surgery. It was a whole thing. And so I go, man, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do here. Well, I find this guy named Jason. Jason pays, he goes, what'd you lock it up for? And I tell him I lock it up for like $200,000. He goes, I'll pay you $1,000. I'm like, done. I'm out of the deal. Paid you $1,000. I walk away.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. This guy, it wasn't a fix and flip. He tears it down, builds a 2-story home. He ends up showing me like a year later how much money he ended up netting on this deal. This guy ends up making like $300,000 on this deal.
Yeah.
Because his exit strategy was different than what I actually understood. He understood the potential of that property, and I did not.
That's it.
Highest and best use. What is the highest and best use of that property?
Not only it's highest and best use, but it's also understanding that different people, we all kind of start out when we're budding and we're new at this thing, and we're just kind of growing, and we find an ugly house, and a lot of people do a flip, or they house hack it, or they do like a burr strategy, or they do something where it's pretty basic. The structure of it is pretty well known. I mean, it's kind of hard to really screw them up. Maybe you're not making as much, but you're making some sort of a profit. When you start getting into really big type of opportunities, these are things that people build businesses around. This is the things that people, hire 5, 10, 15 people to run for them. Like these are big type deals, but it starts with finding your deals, right? Finding some opportunities and then growing from there and getting that experience. Unless you have mentorship, unless you have coaching, or unless you have, a family member or a connection that you have the opportunity to go in and cut down the learning curve.
Yeah.
I never had that. Did you?
I feel like I actually had the opposite. I feel like I had people that would hold me back from my ability and my potential. Jamil, do you remember the relationship I was in when I first originally met you? I was under somebody's thumb here local.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that person was trying to get me to rise to my fullest potential, or keep me under their thumb so they could control me and guide their potential?
I mean, honestly, dude, I think that individual and his partner were doing everything they could to keep you away from seeing the potential that you had in the business, but on top of that, from understanding exactly what was happening. I mean, that's
from growing.
That's the biggest problem that I think people have in this space, is that we work with each other, but then we want to do this. Hey, don't get too big. Hey, don't do too much. Hey, don't pass me. And that attitude, that contracting attitude, is the scarcity mindset. And that's what's murdering so many people's dreams.
Love it. We're talking building a buyer's list. We're talking like, and that's what I wanted to open up with. I opened it up with a quote about everybody walks around with a sign around their neck saying, make me feel important. Make me feel important. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great philosophy to go around and just see MMFI tattooed on somebody's head. You know what I mean? Make them feel important. How do you make cash buyers feel important? How do you make cash buyers feel important and still maximize profits?
Well, you listen to them first and foremost. Beautiful. You ask them the questions that are relevant to them.
Let's give them some meat and potatoes.
So buyer criteria, right? Yeah. Let me first say this. If you are subscribing to a service that is going to blast blindly buyers your deals, you are fucking up. Pardon my language, but you are 1000% doing it wrong. Buyers do not appreciate your pop-up email, unannounced, unopted in, without knowing who the hell you are, making sure that you're not a scam, making sure that this isn't some kind of a phishing situation. Mm-hmm. They want you to connect with them, first and foremost. Second, so if you are bringing a buyer into your fold, call them, have an entrance interview with them and get their buyer criteria. Where exactly are you buying? What type of projects are you looking for? What's your type of return that you're trying to expect on every deal? What's the maximum amount that you'll pay for a deal? What's the minimum that you'll pay for a deal? Are there any areas that you're going to stay away from? Like, are you not trying to buy land? Are you not doing new construction? Are you trying to stay out of South Phoenix? Are there certain zip codes that are better, certain zip codes that are not good for you? Get these questions answered and then curate the deals you're sending to them. Here's the thing. Your buyer has options. There are so many deals coming into their inbox every single day. But you know what your buyer doesn't have? A deal curator. I'm going to say that again. A deal curator. Somebody who is looking at the opportunity, making sure the opportunity is real. So you run the comp. Look, if you're getting deals from other wholesalers, or you're getting deals from agents, or you're getting deals direct to seller, whatever your model is, you want to alienate your buyer, give them a bullshit ARV. You want your buyer to never open your email again? Don't run your comps correctly. Choose comps from every which way and not be truthful about what the true potential of the property is.
So give me because we're talking about, you started with really understanding and curating what these buyers are looking for.
Exactly.
Right? So to get it in front, if it's just you starting out, right? When you were just starting out, were you selling to a certain amount, like just a handful of people that you knew what they were looking for?
When I first started, that's exactly how I did it.
And then give us the path of progress here, because now you have 80,000.
Right.
You've talked to all of them?
No, but I've got
your team.
My team does. And then what we do is
that's what I want to get to here.
Yeah. So as you're growing, right, you're going to have a personal relationship with every one of your buyers, and you're going to curate opportunities for them. Because here's the deal. Your fix and flip buyers, they're out in the world looking at material, looking at projects, driving projects, talking to contractors, making sure things are getting done, going to the city, getting permits. Their day is full of the busy work that's involved in fixing and flipping a house. Therefore, they don't have the time to look at every wholesaler's email that's coming into their inbox. Therefore, they don't have the time to run the comps on every deal that's coming into their inbox. Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if your buyer trusted you so much that when you sent them a deal and you told them an ARV and they liked the numbers, they said, I'll take it? That's how you build a relationship, and that's how you build a buyer's list. For instance, I talk about depth of relationship score.
Did you see that fake person?
No.
That's you?
What do you mean a fake person?
There's a fake Jamil Damji.
No, that's Emily. That's my team.
No. There's one that's a fake one.
Trying to get people to put Bitcoins in some wallet pertaining to
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Wow.
Don't do it, people.
You made it.
Put money in
Anyway.
Yes.
So building it
this
up,
includes
curating.
when you're JVing, when you're bringing another person's deal to the table and you have an option on it, you're allowed to market that deal.
Yes.
You're curating opportunities. You're gathering a great deal from Brent. You might be gathering a great deal from Pace. You might get a great deal from Keegley. You might get a great deal from this wholesaler, this agent, and you're putting them all together. You're running the comps to make sure that the deals are actually deals, that the ARVs are actually real. You're looking at the pictures and you're identifying, is this remodel still a cosmetic remodel, or did they not factor in the fact that half this house was burnt? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
look at the
So
opportunities.
there's two sides, and I'm going to play the flip side of the coin, because I have Investor Lift.
Yeah.
And that's to help my students that want to be blasted out. Jeremy blasts it out, starts building relationships, see who responds, gets them on the phone,
And
does
has
the
it
whole
been
thing.
fruitful?
It has been.
Okay, great.
I mean, but listen, I know what you're saying here. What we don't get out of that
Our relationships
is understanding what is going on in these markets.
Right.
All we know is that we sent it out and somebody wanted it, and that's great. That's the market knowledge that we have.
Great.
We don't, and that's just basically we have one pool of buyers.
Right.
Flips.
Right.
Right. I don't know what rental market's going on there.
True.
I don't know about development market there. I don't know about building buyers, working with agents in that area that have buyers that want to live in these certain neighborhoods like you do.
Right.
I mean, I was about to tell a story because Pace told a story about, just selling off a deal for $1,000 and somebody making 300. I sold a deal to you, which I thought was like squeezed all the juice out of it and you
Yep.
sold it for 35 more. You made 35 on top because you had a specialized buyer.
100%. The facts is that we create relationships and we build relationships that are deep with every one of the people that we
Right.
sell deals to.
Right.
We understand exactly what they're looking for. Look, during COVID time, when people were getting real squirrely and people weren't buying deals, I was selling houses.
Yeah.
And I was selling houses. Why? Because I was working with buyers that we had relationships with, people who trusted us, people who wanted to do business with us, who knew what we knew what we were talking about.
Well, and I also think that the advantage of the business, the advice that you're giving now is so much stronger. Everybody's a genius in good times.
Right.
Right?
100%.
Everybody's a genius in great times.
Yep.
Anything squeezes a little bit, starts messing a little bit, starts going a little bit. All of a sudden, all of those hot buyers that you used to have, they're not around anymore.
Right.
Who are the real people buying out there?
True. Very true.
It's part of it.
Also in that, when you create these relationships, right? When you're curating and you're creating these relationships,
By the way, Steve Train got me into investing.
awesome, great. I mean, good for him. And if it's working for you, that's fantastic.
It has with our students.
For me personally, and for the people
No, I
that
get
I
it.
work with, that it's like literally DMing people random stuff and hoping that something's gonna stick.
Right.
I am not gonna do business that way, but I have no problem with people trying and testing that out, and if it works for them, absolutely great.
We also are really good at comping.
There you go.
That's the other side.
Yep.
Of it. Really, really good. And I would say out of the 100 that we have been submitted, 2 of them sold. You know what I mean? Because those are the only 2 that we saw potential in.
Yep.
So there was some comping going on there. But really good deals. It works for.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Again, there's going to be those moments and there's going to be those times when it's going to be the wrong place for the wrong buyer, right? The wrong deal
100%.
for the wrong buyer. And so you want to have relationships built so that you can place the right deal in the right spot. Here's the other piece of that.
And you can move with your buyers.
Always.
If your buyers all of a sudden, they're like, we can only buy, and this happened.
Yep.
Not saying it's going to happen or anytime soon, but we went through a no equity market where everything was foreclosure auctions and everybody that had the buyers list to bid for people at the auctions won.
Right.
I mean, that's Iman's whole business was huge, grew that.
Absolutely.
I mean, they did that for 20 years, still do it.
All right, guys. So Jimmy Vash says, how much of a profit margin should we keep in mind for the buyer? The answer for me specifically as a cash buyer is I want to make 10%
10%.
of my sales price. Now, 5-6 years ago, I heard a lot of cash buyers saying 20%, but that doesn't exist it does exist. It's pretty rare. It doesn't really exist too much nowadays. So if I'm going to do a $500,000 ARV, let's say I buy the house for 300 and I sell it for 500, my goal is 50,000 of that $500,000 sales price is my profit. So 10% of the sales price needs to be net profit to me.
What about your rentals, Pace? What about your portfolio properties? Are you looking to go in there with equity, or are you willing to not go in with equity because it's a good deal?
Every single house that I've bought has grown so much in freaking equity. But at the end of the day, here's a great example. Okay. Here's a good example. And I'll do a little screen share for you guys. If Google will allow me, for some reason, Chrome hasn't been letting me show stuff.
Didn't you block him the first time? Yeah. He came back?
Yeah.
Who?
We have a rogue Jamil Damji.
Yeah, there's a fake Jamil Damji trying to get people to give him Bitcoin.
Where is he? I don't see him.
He's gone.
You
just blocked him a couple times.
He's hopping around each account.
Like he just keeps coming up with names.
No, it's always me, my name, but I don't know
I don't know how
he's doing it.
He's just changing the font of one of the characters in your name that looks really close, but you have to like stare at it.
Anyway,
Sneaky.
How are they doing that?
So you walk in.
Okay, so here's the answer.
Yep.
Here's the answer. The majority of the BRRRR strategy buyers, so people that are out there going out and buying, renting, buying, rehabbing, renting, and then repeating, the majority of them are not buying anything with any equity, right? They're sinking money into a deal. Okay. Nobody's buying deals at 50 cents on the dollar and being able to pull out all their cash on a BRRRR strategy. It's probably 1 out of 20 people or 1 out of 20 deals you can pull out all of your cash. So whether it's the BRRRR strategy, whether you're buying something straight cash, whether you're buying something creative finance, equity really is not the important thing because equity grows over time, right? That's how we build equity. The number one thing you got to care about is my ability to cash flow.
Yep.
Because equity is not going to save me in a good or bad market. I get this bullshit all the time. And if somebody, I've been saying this lately a lot. I go, if somebody disagrees with me, tell them to meet me in a back alleyway and I'll beat their ass. If you believe you should only buy rentals and long-term portfolio deals based on equity, tell that to people in 2017. All this supposed equity is not what saved them through the downturn. What saved them through the downturn was their ability to cash flow. So buy deals that will cash flow no matter what's going on in the market. Do your research on what's going on with rental rates in your market. In Maricopa County, over the last 75 years, we have not had a dip in rental rates more than 1% in 1 year. And that was in 2008, dipped for like 6 months, 1%. And then since then, it's been shooting up like crazy. So find a market that your rent rates are appreciating, even in 2008, even in 2001, even in 1983, when there was all those downturns. It doesn't matter what your equity is. It matters what your ability to cash flow is. Cash flow is why people put things in their portfolio, not because of equity.
Love it. What's the percentage on your cash buyers that are buying for their portfolio versus their like a fix and flip? Or
I'd say about 70% of our buyers, 70% of our buyers are fix and flip buyers. 30% of them are some form of cash flow appreciation or capital protection buyer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. And is that just Phoenix? Because you guys are
everywhere.
everywhere.
That's nationwide.
Okay.
That's nationwide. That's the avatar of what we go after, right? So we have a whole team, our intake team, their entire job. And that's the largest department that we have at King Lee. If you ever come into our office, you'll see the majority of my office is intake.
Yeah.
Intake is the department that builds the buyers lists, right? So
figures out what people
are looking for. Then they they open the door to create the relationship. They get the legal opt-in. Once we have the legal opt-in, then it's a disposition rep's job to reach out to that person and start to develop a relationship and do business with them. Again, what I was, and I wanted to just make a quick mention about Investor Lift. Investor Lift is great. That's actually a fully developed platform. What I meant about taking a list and blindly blasting, that's when you see these posts in Facebook. Hey, I got a buyer's list. Send me $100 and then you can have my buyer's list and you can send. Guys, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not how it's done. That is not how it's done. If you want to figure out how to ban your email, if you want every one of your emails to go to spam, do that stuff.
Yep.
But the real way is to develop a You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? People are setting up fake escrow companies. People are setting up fake title companies, fake bank accounts, fake names, fake emails, sending out fake deals, getting EMD wired to fake banks. This is happening out there. Buyers are getting savvy. They want to know that who they're dealing with is real and legitimate. That's why we have what's called the depth of relationship score. If you guys haven't seen that video, I put it out on my YouTube over 1.5 years ago, where I score every one of my buyers on a level of stickiness.
Love it.
Sticky buyers, guys. Sticky buyers.
What's the range?
1 to 5.
Okay.
Right? And that's from transactional to a full-blown friendship. Okay? Transactional is like, hey, I don't know you. You don't know me. I got a deal. You want to buy it. We're just dancing around each other, about to do business, possibly. But that's a transactional relationship, right? Again, there's nothing there. That person doesn't have any loyalty to me. In fact, if they found that deal somewhere else cheaper, they would forget me in a second and they would go do the deal with someone else.
Right.
If there was ever a way for them to get me out of the equation, they would take me out of the equation because I'm nothing but a transaction to them.
Got it.
So you need to elevate your buyer to a level of depth that gets them to a place of transactions with you, to a place of a relationship with you. That's how you build a sticky buyer. And again, no platform, no list, nothing is going to give that to you other than you personally taking the time to get out of your way and to get into the other person's perspective. Here's the deal. When we're wholesalers, we're always sitting on our side of the fence. We're looking at it from like, how much money can I make? What can I do with this? What's my maximum potential here? How can I keep all the coins? The buyer on the other side has a perspective. It's like, what does the earth look like from the moon? You ever thought of that? What does the earth look like from the moon? That's how different you and your buyer think. So unless you can get into that person's perspective and see it from their point of view, getting a deeper level of connection with your buyer won't happen. Is that making sense?
It does to me. So how do you do that?
All right.
You
Can I
ask
show you guys something real
questions.
quick before we I know this is an important topic real quick, but you asked the question. So let's go over it.
Yep.
Since 2008, or I'm sorry, since 1980, consistently, rent rates have averaged 8%. This is national average, by the way. This is not Arizona. This is national average. Look at the rent rate since 1940. Okay.
Yep.
So when people talk about equity, like I'm going to buy a deal based on equity, guys, you never buy a deal based on equity. I would overpay for a deal. And look at multifamily buyers right now. Every single multifamily buyer is overpaying for every single multifamily deal.
Here's an example. Pace watched me do it today. I bought a triplex.
Yeah.
For $1.2 million.
Yep.
Fully remodeled.
Yep. Here?
Yes.
Awesome.
Fully remodeled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the juice supposedly squeezed out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I hooked up with a person who has a relationship with a sticky buyer who has a completely different buying criteria than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
Anyone I would ever do business with.
Okay.
I just closed on the property today.
Yeah.
And I just signed the sale. Contract to resell it. Pace, how much money did I make?
$450,000.
Come on.
Come on, baby. One transaction because of a sticky buyer, because of a relationship buyer.
So one conversation, 450,000.
Yeah.
How'd you find that buyer?
From a relationship. So I went to a networking event. I went to a networking event and I met.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. I met. Yeah. Ring the bell for me, baby. True that. So I go to a networking event and I run into a lady named Sophia Willits.
What's up, Sophia?
She is a local multifamily only investor, agent, broker here in Phoenix, Arizona. At the networking event, Pace and I actually spoke at it. It was at Ryan Zolan's event at El Jefe.
Yeah.
Sophia was there. She said, I would love for you to come and speak at my event if you would. I said, sure. The day of the event, I was tired. My in-laws were in town. I was tired. I was feeling like I was dragging. We had just filmed for 9 hours. Now I had to go to an event and speak. 50% of me said, stay home. 50% of me said, you said you would do something, do it.
Right.
So I got in my car and I went.
Yeah.
I did the talk. I went home. I made a connection with Sophia. The next morning, my phone rings. Guy says, I got this fully retail triplex. Can you help me out? I'm like, you know what? I just so happened to have met somebody yesterday, and let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
Call her up. I say, these are the deals. She says, you know what? I got a buyer who's literally buying at like 3 caps here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Get that under contract.
Yeah.
Get it under contract. We're in escrow. Bada bing, bada boom. Done deal. That's it.
This isn't the one you just closed on?
This is the one I just closed on.
Really?
I just left the bank, bro. Look. You can't make this shit up. I just left the bank and I just texted my seller, and you can see my seller. There he is. Okay. Wire sent to close.
And you put, that seller's gonna, $450,000.
Yeah, baby.
Awesome. All because you made that connection. All
Correct.
because one, you went to Ryan Zolan's event, which is great. I'm speaking at it this month.
Yep.
And two, you met and
I made a
connected
connection.
and then also gave value.
Correct.
And then that gave, that cemented the relationship. And now 450,000. 450,000. People are like, that's if you make 400,000 in this country, you're in the top 1%. Jamil did it with one conversation. Happens.
Real deal. Dog.
Talking to people, baby.
Yeah.
That's it.
Real
That
deal.
is it. I love it. So let's get into this real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's crack this open.
Yes. Kelsey Sidal asked
Then.
question.
Great picture, by the way, Kelsey.
Yeah,
Looking
you're
good.
a stud. You're a stud. I like that shirt.
Jeez, look
Is
at
there
that.
any particular way to approach hedge funds once you find them? Kelsey, yes. And it's through their advocate. It's through
Yep.
their agent.
Yep.
Hedge funds are not people. They are organizations.
Yep.
Organizations have pathways to communicate. Those pathways are the ways and the only ways that they'll communicate. That's why they employ real estate agents to work on their behalf. Find the agent who's working with the hedge fund, create a relationship with that agent, take them out to dinner, take them out to lunch, take them out to coffee, find out exactly what they're looking for, how you can make their life easy. And in so doing, bring them value. They will look at your deal before they'll look at somebody else's deal. Why? Because you created a relationship with them, but it's through the agent the hedge fund has employed. That's how you do it.
Love it. Do you guys ever do any deals in Hawaii? I currently live out here and was just wondering if there was a lot of wholesalers out this way. Love the show, by the way. Toa, yes. I don't do deals. I have students that do deals there. Incredible students that live out there and work out there and do deals there. I also communicate a lot with RJ Bates. RJ Bates has done a lot of deals with Titanium Investments out there for a while. What I'll say is big deals, not a lot of deals, but big deals typically. But I think you could do it anywhere. I really do. What do you? Any experience in Hawaii?
Hawaii's great.
Yeah.
Pace has a number of students that work in Hawaii and do deals out there. I've got a couple of students that do deals in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's the thing. Hawaii is like the least saturated place where you're going to find real estate investors. There's a lot of flip activity going on, but there's not a lot of competitive wholesaling going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a wide open lane. Now, if you're from one of the islands or if you're a native over there, you've got way better of an opportunity to go and connect with people and do business the way Hawaiians do business, right? This isn't bringing Phoenix or LA or any of these like slick city talking vibes over to the people out there. They want to do business the way they want to do business. Figure out how that is and get in that vibe and crush it.
Justin, can you accurately find out existing equity in a house pre-seller convo? I want to tackle this real quick. The answer is yes. Batchleads.io. Squad up is the coupon code for that. Squad up for batchleads.io. It'll have it right there. If you've ever watched Straight Outta Compton with Jamil on the weekend, it shows, you'll see it when he's pulling up any of the properties. It'll show estimated equity, so that helps. But this is something that I will caution you against. I would not do a ton of research until you have a conversation with the property owner. All right. I don't want you going in there with preconceived notions or thinking you know what price you're going to go at or anything. I want you to just have a conversation, a quality conversation about 4 things. All right. The condition of their property, their timeline to sell, their motivation to sell, like what is their big problem, and their price. Those are the 4 things. We talk about it all the time on here. I understand for people that have heard me say that a bazillion times, but reps help, right? So condition, timeline, motivation, price, have a really good conversation with them and see if they actually want to sell. That's a lead. Because there's plenty of people that need to sell that still foreclose. There's still people that need to sell that they still give their properties back to an HOA lien or a property tax lien or whatever else. So make sure that they are going to sign a agreement with somebody in a specific time frame. That's a lead. All right. Somebody that just wants you to give them an offer, or what's the best you can do, or how much will you give me and all that, and have no timeline. You're just spinning your wheels typically with that. So have the conversation first before you start doing a ton of research, because that research is the number one creative avoidance in your business. You will out-research yourself out of this business. You will research yourself out of this business 100% because you have a fear of picking up the phone and talking and having a conversation with that owner. And it's a totally acceptable fear because you've never done it, or maybe you haven't had a lot of reps at it. But the more that you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get. And that's when you really make a difference.
Do you vet your buyers to make sure they're not wholesalers? I had to take a moment there.
Take a moment.
Because that is the shittiest question I've ever been asked on Wholesale Hotline. And I don't mean that in a negative way to you, brother. It is because you've been brainwashed into believing that working with wholesalers is not cool. that working with wholesalers is not going to bring you a check. That is not the case. Okay. I work with multiple wholesalers, hundreds of them across the country. And we always, we open our door to wholesalers to come in and bring us opportunities. We let them come in. We let them bring their buyers. We let them work our deals. Why would we not? Why would I want to ever stop somebody from A, bringing me value by bringing me a buyer, and B, getting out there and making money? As long as they're doing the right things, as long as they're not doing shit.
That's where the question comes from. Let's be honest. Okay. Let's take your personal opinion about this to the side, and let's be really honest about this opinion. There's a lot of shitty wholesalers out there treating people like shit.
Yes.
There's a lot of them. So this question is rooted from not doing deals with people inside of your community, my community, Brent's community. It has to do with the wholesalers that are running out there, putting sellers in bad situations, lying to people and saying, I am the buyer when they are not the buyer.
Right.
And they have
I'm
no
personally
money,
sick
they have
of it.
no Earnest.
I'm personally sick of it. I don't care if you don't have Earnest money, but if you come to me and you say, I'm the buyer, you better be the buyer. And if you're not the buyer,
absolutely,
just tell me, hey, can I shop your deal for you? And my answer 100% of the time is yes.
Yes.
Leverage
So the real
their
question I
buyers
think they're
for you.
asking, Jamil, is here's the real question, right? They're not as educated as you or me, but the real question is, how do I make sure a wholesaler follows the proper actions and takes care of my deal if I do send it over to them?
Well, first and foremost, they've got to be working a deal at the same number that you're working at. When you see deals that are being sent out at like 10, 15 different prices, that's just confusing to the marketplace, first and foremost. So I always try to get alignment.
What does that
on
mean?
price. Alignment on price, meaning, hey, if you're sending a deal out at 500,000, I want to be able to send a deal out at 500,000 as well. If I've got to send it out at
so let's say
510,
Jamil, I go to you and I go, hey, Jamil, I want to use the leverage and power of Keegley, which I've used hundreds of times, and I love Keegley. And you go, yeah, no problem. We're going to go market it. Or what are you marketing it at? And I go, well, I'm marketing it at 600. That means that you're not going to go out and market it at 650 so that there's confusion in the marketplace. Is that correct?
Correct. You and I are going to come to alignment on price, and we're going to say, hey, look, what does this look like? What do your numbers look like? You know, if you're not willing to tell me where your basis is on a deal, then it doesn't matter, because you and I aren't coming to terms because you're not willing to be transparent, and I'm not going to want to work as hard for you as possible. The facts is that I want to sell the deal for as much as I can sell the deal for. You want to make as much money as possible. So if we both put our heads together and I swing for the fences and you give me a great understanding of basis, you might, instead of making $10,000, make $25,000 because we came together in alignment on price. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So alignment on price.
And then,
what else?
Just like Rocky just said, documentation, 1,000%. If you're not getting options signed by the people that you're working with, or at least written permission to market a deal, you are breaking the law. You're breaking the law. You need to have equitable interest in a contract in order to market that contract.
Tell me, let's explain that a little bit more in depth. You said a word, equitable interest, that's going to go over most people's heads. What does that mean?
Equitable interest is the term for having a marketable right to sell a contract. That's equitable interest. So, for instance, if I put your property under contract and it's a ratified contract, meaning it's been signed by the seller and myself, I've opened escrow at title and I've got earnest money in, we now have a ratified contract. That contract is now marketable. And I can sell the equitable interest in the property. Equitable interest meaning I have interest in the property that equates to this contract. I can sell that contract for a fee. But if I'm just sending out an address with a price, I don't have equitable interest. That's why people are getting themselves in trouble. That's why they're getting themselves a bad name. That's why they're called daisy chainers. That's why they get dragged through the mud and ridiculed, because they're not communicating and being transparent with people. And even though they're trying to add value to the marketplace, even though they're trying to be helpful, even though all they want to do is bring a buyer to the table because they might know they have a buyer for a deal, but rather than have a conversation communicate with the wholesaler, get permission, and do it all by the book.
Yeah.
They just take somebody's deal and send it out to their list and hope for the best. That's absolute.
So Jamil, let's say I call you up, right?
Right.
Let's say I call you up, just like the good old days, and I go, hey man, I've got a deal and I can't sell it. Can you help me sell it? What's that conversation look like? Let's do a little role
repeat
play.
that. So you call
We
me up
need
and
your
say, I
help
have a
selling.
deal. I'll say, great.
Hey bro, I've got
Pace.
a deal, but I'm having a hard time selling it. I heard Keegley can help me sell to a much larger buyers list. Can you help me?
We'd absolutely love to. First and foremost, let's take a look at the deal. Can you send me over the price, the pictures, the close of escrow date, and any other information that you have on this specific deal so I can evaluate it?
Yes, sir. Here you go.
So I get the deal, I look at the address, I comp it, and I might see that your comps were wrong, in which case I'll come to you and say, hey, Pace, you put this under contract at $400,000 and the ARV on this is $420,000. This isn't going to be sold very easily because you don't have equity in this deal. This is pretty much a retail deal. Or let's say you did the comps right. I'll say, Pace, this is a great deal. You have it under contract at $400,000. The ARV on this is $550,000. I think I can get a buyer in this right now at $450,000. Would you be cool if I sent this out at $450,000 and I try to split $50,000 with you? Are you into that? You are?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to send you over an option right now. It's just going to give me the right to market it. It's going to be non-exclusive. I don't want to tie your hands from being able to go out and find your own buyer.
So if I wanted to go
time.
out and decide to market it myself, I can do that simultaneously?
Hell yeah, dude. I don't think you're going to be able to get what I can get for it, but I don't want to tie your hands.
Amazing. So so what if I find a buyer and you find a buyer at the exact same time? How do we decide which buyer we go with?
Practically impossible. But if we'll look at the timestamp, but however, as I said, it's not exclusive. So even if your offer came in after mine, you can decide how you want to play because you have all the control. It's non-exclusive. I'm trying to be helpful here. I want to bring you an opportunity, but I don't want to tie your hands and I don't want to make you make less money.
Love it. Here's a question. If you guys don't mind me answering this, this actually ties into what's that?
Guys, if you're getting value out of this, please hit the like button on whatever platform you're watching. If it's YouTube, if it's Facebook, it really helps us bring incredible people into our world. It exposes. When you hit a like button, it like shows it to a ton of people. It's wild. So if you're getting value out of this, I'd love to see that. We've got 700 people on here and we've got 27 emojis. So if we could get that up over 100 here real quick, we'd really appreciate it. That's all we're asking. Just smash that like button and let's rock and roll. Go ahead, Pace.
So Jordan says, for beginners, how much earnest money is required for on and off market deals? Okay, so Jordan, let me answer this very specifically. It depends on the deal and whether it's on and off market. Usually if it's on market, real estate agents are asking for 1% or a couple $1,000s. A lot of times you'll see $1,000, $2,500, 1% of the purchase price, $5,000, right, is kind of the significant weight. If it's off market, a lot of times with my wholesale team, we're locking up deals with anywhere between $10. Yes, sometimes we do $10 earnest money, all the way up to $1,000 earnest money, depending on the conversation we had with the seller. It all depends on the conversation we have with the seller. The earnest money is never pre-printed in the contract. So that is not a predetermined dollar amount. It is based on the negotiation with whoever was talking to the seller. Now, for anybody that says, how do I get earnest money? I'm actually doing a live specifically about this regarding transactional funding. I did a 4-hour live yesterday, all about raising capital. If anybody watched, I had 900 people watch it for 4 hours with me. Didn't push a product, didn't do anything. One thing I ran out of is I ran out of time. What I planned on doing was giving away $10,000 yesterday, and I ran out of time because it just so many questions. Tonight, we're finalizing that 4-hour live with a 5th hour, and I'm going to give away $10,000. I will tell you exactly how to never worry about earnest money ever freaking again. So, but earnest money, Jamil, what are you typically seeing on your on-market deals? I don't really screw around with on-market deals too often.
It depends on the market, right? So here in Arizona, on-market deals, I'm putting up $2,000. In LA, $10,000. So it's really market specific on how much they are going to require. And funny enough, I will be doing a live on Friday specifically to earnest money. So not on transactional funding, not on hard money, but specifically to earnest money and on-market deals. It'll be in the chat as well. The link for that on Friday at 10 a.m. Arizona time. I'm going to be doing it with Ryan Zolan, actually, because you know his entire business is MLS. So we're going to work with you on how to do these MLS deals. And in fact, we'll actually back you. And I'm going to show you exactly how I can back you on all of your MLS deals or all of your agent deals and be the individual who puts the EMD up for you. I think my people are putting the link in the chat. So if you don't mind,
So
you can
you're their
also,
buyer?
I'll either be their buyer or we'll back them.
What does that mean? Back the Earnest?
We'll back the Earnest.
Got it.
Yep.
Awesome. Make sure you guys get it 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Is it on your YouTube? Is it on
It's on the Air Meet. Yep.
Air Meet?
Yep.
Okay. So Air Meet.
When is yours, Pace? Tonight?
There's a link.
Yeah, it's immediately after Wholesale Hotline for just 1 hour.
Make sure the teams put that in there. There it is. Pace's Zoom tonight. There you go. Perfect. So if you guys, if you have more time after this and you want more, Pace has a Zoom tonight. Make sure you jump on that link in the comments section. There we go.
Kamahai's answer, great. Off market, we do 1% of purchase. That's very standard, Kamahai. That makes a lot of sense.
And that's true for on market as well. On market, the agents are typically going to ask for that. If we do $1,000 as a base just in Phoenix, and usually they're fine with that. Some people do $100. I've heard some people say $10. Some you don't even need earnest money to make a contract valid. It depends on which state you're in. So make sure that you see if it's required, if you need to put consideration down. That's what earnest money is called, consideration down to make a contract valid.
Oh, and sorry, guys, mine's not at 10 a.m. It's at 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Friday. Sorry. I'm so dumb. Sorry, guys.
We have a flight
You're an
at
idiot,
5
Jamil.
p.m.,
It's
right?
3 p.m. 3 p.m. on Friday. 3 p.m. on Friday.
We have a flight at 5 p.m. on Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we're flying private, so they can wait.
Yeah, that's true.
Pace and I are taking a jet to Miami
Yeah.
to go speak on the 10X stage.
Oh, you're allowed to say it?
Oh.
All right. They're talking on 10 different stages. Amazing. Here we go. All right. Moving on. We need Jerry Norton. Well, we'll bring Jerry Norton on for sure. Can I use a brick property as a comp for a sightings property also? By the way, Darius, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Darius. Thanks for asking another question.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking around. I know that Jamil came at you, but
I didn't mean to come at you though, Darius.
It didn't hurt his
I
feelings.
love you, brother, and I appreciate you
Yeah.
asking the questions you were asking. You're
So
the
there you
man,
go.
man. You're the man, dude. Hey, Jamil, and he's asking me too. Wow, this guy's dope.
Yeah.
Can I use a brick property as a comp for a siding property? There's definitely going to be a price differential there. Masonry construction, especially in the East, has an inherent value because just because of weather, just because of insulation and actual construction quality. And I've been seeing that it's roughly around a 10 to 15% difference. So the masonry property will actually be worth 10 to 15% more than your stick construction. So you'll need to make that adjustment.
Big difference in Florida. Huge difference in Florida.
Can I use a 2-story comp with a 1.5-story comp? They have stairs. They're valid.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a tri-level. Eric Jackson asks, when it comes to dated properties in today's market, how many days out should we search and how do we go about negotiating overpriced properties? Love it. I think he's talking about MLS deals, right? Properties that have been getting some seasoning, getting a little bit of rust on the market there.
30 days.
30 days.
30
Yep.
days in this market is an eternity.
Well, it's in Phoenix. I mean, in some of the other in some of the other markets, it's more like 90 days.
Yep.
I would say if you have a market under $500,000, 90 days is the best bet. If it's over $500,000 in your market, then 30 days, like Jamil was saying.
That's fair. That would be a low appreciation, low demand market, 90 days, high appreciation, high demand, 30 days. Makes sense.
If you guys are going to be in Miami this weekend, make sure you post Miami with a thumbs up and see these guys.
Please don't get me in trouble. Please.
Jalen, how do you
Jamil, I've got a good question here.
Yep.
This is another reason why people don't like wholesalers who pretend that they're buyers. Okay. So the question is, how do you keep those buyers or those supposed buyers from going around you on a deal?
Yep.
Jamil, this is a Jamil question.
1,000,000% relationship space. Here's the deal. Okay. I've got buyers who, oh, hi, Corbin.
Say hi, Jamil.
Hi, Jamila.
How are you?
Say, what'd you eat for lunch? Ask him.
I eat cheese and macaroni.
Oh, you did? She ate cheese and macaroni. Thank you, babe.
Amazing. Relationships. That's how you do it. So I have such a strong relationship with our buyers. Our buyers love us. They understand we're in the business to make money, and they want to do business with us over and over and over and over and over again. They know that circumventing us on one deal means they're blacklisted from all the deals after that. They would never trade a $10,000 or $15,000 assignment fee to get blacklisted from being able to buy properties from me. So that's the first thing. Second, they want me to win. My buyers love me. They love the fact that I help them, that they do well. They don't care that they see an assignment fee of 50 racks from me. They don't care because they're going to crush it on that deal, and they know that that deal wasn't going to get to them without me. So again, the way you do it is by creating sticky relationships with your buyers. My one buyer, Jack Liebert, okay, I have hundreds of these, but one of them, Jack Liebert, he's on every other wholesaler's list. I could go and take a deal from another wholesaler's list and bring it to Jack and say, hey, Jack, here's the deal. And he'll say, hey, I just saw it on this other guy's list. And he'll pay me to buy it from me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he trusts me, because he understands that if I'm involved in the transaction, he's safe. So that's how you do that, brother.
Also, listen, when you have a signed agreement and somebody's trying to backdoor you, they are actively trying to get that property owner to breach a contract. Breaching the contract could lead to a lawsuit. So it's really first of all, it's really gross when people try to do that, and it really doesn't happen a tremendous amount of time. And if it does in your market, you need to build a squad that is so strong that you are on a group text. We're on a group text with some of the baddest dudes in the state. And if somebody crosses any of us, everybody hears about it. Everybody hears about it. So build up your squad up in your area with amazing high ethic, right? High ethics group that is going to encourage and cheerlead you and support you. And if anybody crosses somebody that's in a rough tries to backdoor you, let everybody know about it.
Here's an example. Okay. So the individual that Pace was talking about earlier that put him in a bad situation, that put his thumb on him and ripped him off for $1.8 million, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy was one of the largest, most successful wholesalers in the business.
Oh, yeah.
And he crossed the wrong man.
Mm-hmm.
That person went from top of the totem pole to bankruptcy. 6 feet deep, bankruptcy, dead in the dirt because he crossed one relationship. I saw him there, but Jamil, it does happen. So you just have to weed those people out. You're right. Yes. It does happen. Yep. You don't go into life expecting bad things to happen to you. That's not how we roll. That's not how we grow. That's not how we win. We have abundance mindsets, and we know that if somebody steals from us, okay, fine. Life is very reciprocating. The world does not pay back people who do bad shit. Mm-hmm. So just get that they will understand how they went wrong, and they will pay for that at another time. It's not your job to deliver retribution. It's your job to remain abundant and carry forward.
Yeah. You don't get what you want, you get what you attract.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Don't attract negativity. Don't attract that. If it happens, it happens. And listen, I get it. When you're first starting out, you don't know who to trust. You got to that's the whole point of the show. That's why we've done 110 episodes. That's why we keep doing this, is to change the industry so that people will collaborate and squad up and find somebody in the marketplace that you can trust and that you have confidence, so that you don't just try this for 6 weeks and stop, and then all of a sudden you're on to something else and you miss out on the incredible opportunity that is owning real estate in this country. Right? The start of it is finding and sourcing discounted properties. And then from there, you can do whatever you want. You can fix and flip. You can develop. You can buy and hold. You can get creative. You could be a bank. You could coach. You could do all sorts of different things. But it starts with sourcing discounted properties. And once you find that and source that deal, have somebody in your corner. Have somebody squad up for real. It changes everything, and it brings you so much more confidence. There you go.
So great.
Yeah. Suing for breach of contract and specific performance right now screwed us only out of 18K. Snakes are real. Yeah, it happens. Yep.
You know, this is the most common question my wife gets. Here's the why. In her DM, she shows me probably 2 to 5 times a day. People go, "How do you deal with pace?" To my wife.
Right.
Because people think that all I do is work, but they don't see that the time that I'm not working, I'm so intentional about the 4 or 5 hours with my family every day. People don't realize that even though I work more than most people do, I actually spend more time with my wife and my kids than most people do as well. So
just for an example,
gotta,
this guy took his daughter out for a date this morning before we were all on set. He was already out before everybody was on set. He was already out on a date with Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys just got to time block that kind of stuff. It's pretty simple. You don't believe it, but it is very, very true. Yes, I do wake up between 3 and 4 o'clock. All right, cool. Let's do it. I would squat up with wholesalers in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. So check this out. This is really cool. So many people. I was on Sunday service last night, and a non-sub 2 student found one of my sub 2 students in the Wholesale Hotline chat. And my sub 2 students just going through and picking up all his leads he's throwing away. They picked up a seller finance deal out of it last week. And he's like, dude, I don't know why I haven't been doing this longer. I'm just wholesaling my leads essentially to your creative finance students. Then the same conversation continues on. Another guy goes, I squatted up with another student in TTP who's way better on the phone than I am. And they're going through my leads that I thought didn't have motivation, but they just know how to pull out motivation more than I do. And they're getting deals. Dude, this is all on Sunday service last night. Then I get another person that goes, I'm squatting up with astro flipping students that are selling deals for me that I couldn't sell otherwise. So guys, make sure you are spending time in the side chat, making friends with each other, and taking the time. Yesterday, I saw Myron and Carolyn out of Dallas actually host a meetup at their house. I saw probably 5 or 6 other meetups all over the country just yesterday on Sunday.
I love it.
Take the time, link in with each other, go to Starbucks, go start a podcast with each other, go create energy with each other by squatting up.
Oh, I like this question. Can we ask it? Can I read it?
Rocket.
Maru Estates LLC said, Jamil, I have a wholesaler who worked with me on a deal that fell through. That wholesaler then went and locked up the same property I had under contract and never mentioned it to me. Is that stealing? Hell yeah, it is. 1,000%. That person didn't get that lead without you. That person should absolutely have contacted you and said, hey, the deal fell through, but I want to take another run at it. Why don't I approach the seller? I'll get the deal under contract. You and I will still stay in a JV, and then we'll go out and try to do the deal. Maybe they're going to go try to get the deal locked up a little bit lower. Whatever that is, they should have been in conference with you so that you two were working on that deal together. Maru, absolutely, that is theft. I don't think that that's good ethics or good behavior. And again, that the world will find a way to give that person their just dessert. You continue being a great person and going out there, and don't be afraid to JV with people. You unfortunately found the wrong one this time, but there's a million others out there who are going to love on you and not do it that way. I promise.
Maru, if you're still on here, let us know why it fell out. I'm curious. You know, why did it fall? Why did it fall through? Did they go in and lock it up lower? I'd be really interested to know what's going on there and why you couldn't get that one gone. And maybe we can give you some advice so that never happens again. All right. That'd be great. Awesome. Okay, got it.
What's next?
No. What should you ask when you JV with people? How do you vet each other? Asked Rosa Ramirez.
Again, it depends on the time or which line of the equation you're on. Are you trying to bring a buyer, or do you have the contract, right? And so what I like to do is I just like to ask qualifying questions. For instance, if I'm going to bring a buyer to the table and I want to know that the person I'm dealing with actually has the contract under contract or has the deal under contract, I ask them very simple questions. What's the address? What's the pictures? What's close of escrow? And what title company? And if I can't get those answered,
say that again.
What's the address? What's the pictures? What's the title company? And what's close of escrow? And if I can't get those answers lickety split, that person is not direct on that deal.
That's great.
On the other side of that, if you are an acquisition wholesaler
Mhm.
and you're trying to vet a buyer to see if somebody's actually got a buyer, I would ask them, have you worked with this buyer before? Do they do deals in this area? Do you have any addresses of some of the properties that they flipped before? Is there any proof of funds that they're willing to provide? Look, sometimes JV people that are bringing a buyer to the table aren't going to be able to have that. They're not going to have all those things.
Right.
But ask them the question so that they can at least go and judge the seriousness of their buyer. Right. And that's the key. So how quickly can your buyer close? That's another great question.
Mhm.
Are they using cash or hard money? You should have the answers to these if you vetted your buyer. You should know, does your buyer close with cash? Does your buyer close with hard money? Is your buyer going to make a stink about using a specific title company? These are things.
Is your buyer looking in this area?
Right. These are things that your JV partner that's bringing a buyer to the table should know.
Hannah Cass asks, if someone asked me what's the address on a property I found off market, but I haven't put it under contract, should I give them said address? Well, first of all, are you just trying to feel it out to make sure that you have the right price on that? I assume that that's what you're doing. You're just kind of verifying what you can offer on this deal. And if it's somebody that you trust, then yeah, they're going to need to see what the address is to help you out. But if you're just trying to sell a deal that you think's a deal, but you haven't put it under contract, that's just hallucination. That's just, I mean, it's positive thinking, but if you don't have the deal, what are you selling them? You know what I mean? You're saying, hey, I've got a property that's really ugly down the street. Do you want to buy it? Or how much will you buy it for? And then they ask for you the address and you say, what? You're going to have to tell them
You're
something.
You're going to have to tell them. And
you're going to have it under contract.
Yes.
I mean, unless you need help, which that's what Keegley does around the country, is people reach out to Keegley to verify what's their buy numbers. What number should I go in and offer this property owner for this deal? I understand that. And that's what we talked about it last week, about getting your cash buyers, having really good communication with them, running deals by them before you go and lock it up too high. And that helps to avoid the real uncomfortable position of having to cancel a deal because you didn't have the numbers right and you needed some expertise on comping a property. Find somebody that you can squat up with in your market, or reach out to Keegley. They're around the country, and get their buy price, get a number out of them. And then you can go in there with confidence and get that property locked up. But if you don't have it locked up, what are you talking to a cash buyer for?
Right.
And yeah, anyway.
Here's a question I think Pace can answer. He's an owner of a title company. Pace, do you have any insights on this?
This is happening more.
Our title company would never do this, but
Right.
I have heard of title companies doing this because, again, anything with car insurance or any type of insurance, that's what people don't understand about title companies. A title company doesn't actually do the paperwork with your transaction. The title company insures the transaction. They offer an insurance policy.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. So what they're doing is they're finding any way to wiggle out of that insurance policy and cancel it when you guys come and make a claim. Okay. And they're justifying it by saying one of these things. So I have had and heard of this a couple of times. You just need to, unfortunately, you're not going to want to hear this answer, because when you're brand new, this is going to scare you. You got to get an attorney to challenge them, and they have no legal right to be able to cancel their title insurance. Because here's the thing. They issued title insurance at the moment of close of escrow.
Well, there's people now, Pace, that I'm hearing. Somebody just sent me a text 2 days ago that if you make too much on a flip property, some title companies won't insure it. Like, how crazy is that?
It's nutty.
So
No.
first of all,
there's a difference
first of all,
here.
find the right.
We're talking two different things here. Let's not confuse the audience.
He's talking about an assignment fee. I'm talking about profits done on a deal. That's the same thing.
They're saying you're saying they won't insure it in the first place,
right?
Which I've heard of as well. What they're saying is, have you ever heard of a title company reject the claim because you made too much money and coming back? So that means that the title had already been issued.
No, that's ridiculous.
No, I've heard of it, people challenging it and them trying to squeeze out of it, but it's incredible. Maybe twice. Here's my question. The person that's texted you, Brent, do you know the justification for them saying, no, I'm not going to offer you title insurance?
For the title companies?
Yeah. Why would they justify that?
They are hedging that it's not loan fraud. So you buy a property, you fix it up, you sell it for a huge profit, and somehow the owner's involved in it, or somehow it's not a arm's length transaction.
Interesting.
So-
What we should do is we should get the CEO of a title company on Wholesale Hotline.
Let's
next
do
week.
it.
Hey, Pace, I think we might know a guy.
We do know a guy. That's exactly where my mind's at. I think that we go directly for that. I think we bring on the owner of a title company, owns, I think, over 50 title offices, and he owns loan officer companies and all sorts of stuff. I think bringing him on, he has a great personality, very dynamic. I think bringing him on and talking about this kind of stuff would be a really awesome topic.
Awesome.
There's been a number of questions in the chat about my hard money. So it's flip2fundllc@gmail.com. It's private money, guys. I'm not a hard money lender. I'm a private money lender, and I will actually have to underwrite your deal. So don't just send that out to people and be like, hey, Jamil's giving me a loan. If you don't send me deal details, there's no loan. So understand it's going to be treated like a private money loan, but flip2fundllc@gmail.com, and we'll get you a proof of funds for your offers. And if you are wanting to figure out how to get 10 offers out every day, click on the link for my live on Friday at 3 p.m. We'll help you get 10 offers out every single day. 10 offers. What would 10 offers do for your business?
A lot more deals. A lot of deals.
Is there an
Friday at 3
equation
p.m.,
for how
guys.
many offers you need to make to get a deal?
Say it again.
Is there an equation for how many offers you need to make to get a deal?
50.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So if you did 10 offers a day,
Ryan Zolan on our show on Thursday said, this is why I write notes, guys. This is why. He does 5 offers a day. 100 offers gets you 10 to 15 accepted,
He's
and you
about
close
10%.
5.
Yeah.
You close 5. So you end up actually going under contract. Exactly.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a better average because
you
Ryan's
filter him.
laser focused,
Yeah.
right? But yes, that's
1 out of
about right.
20
1 out of 20.
for Ryan. So Ryan's on with him 3 p.m. on Friday.
Links in the chat. Only 37 of you have signed up, guys. Don't sleep on this.
By the way, Aaron, how many podcast downloads? Yep.
Where's the link? Put the link up, Emily, for Friday.
72,000 podcast listen tos in the last month for Wholesale Hotline podcast. Guys, this is content that you need to put into your brains. We put out a podcast every single day. Pace, Jamil, and myself every single day on Wholesale Hotline. Get in there. Check it out.
That's a lot of people. Wow. Well done, Brent.
Top 1% in 60 days. That's how amazing our audience is, and that's the value. People are getting incredible value.
The private money proof of funds is flipfundllc@gmail.com. 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 That's it.
How do you explain to another wholesaler the ARV they have under contract is not the same ARV you comped? I also sent the comp I use. He was offended.
What would you do, Pace?
I usually send a loom. I actually just say, hey, you know what? You probably know this area better than me, but let me just go through and comp this. Tell me if I'm missing anything. Give me a couple addresses. Maybe I'm not punching in the right things, and I show them what I'm actually punching in to whatever software I'm using. If it's in Arizona, I'm using MLS. If it's outside of Arizona, I'm either using batch leads or PropStream to comp the properties. And I actually just make a loom video, and I take the 5 minutes to build the relationship, because again, everything in this business comes down to relationships. I do the same thing with real estate agents. And then you never know. There's been times where I go through and I comp something and they go, actually, you missed a property right here, and here's my justification for it. And I go, okay, yeah, I guess I could kind of see, I could see how you could make that argument. And we then have a conversation in a friendly Discord. I never turn into a fight. I always assume I'm wrong. And I lead with that conversation of like, hey, I'm going to assume I'm wrong, but let me just show you how I came up with this. Tell me where I made my mistake. Same words, different tone. Listen to me. Hey, I'm going to assume I'm wrong here. Let me show you how I came up with this. And maybe you can tell me how I'm wrong.
I love
Same
that.
words, different tone.
I will do the exact same thing. I'll say, hey man, I think I'm missing something. Because I'm seeing a completely different ARV. Can you send me the comp you used to get to that?
Yeah.
And they will typically then backtrack and say, well, no. Or they'll say, here it is. And then I'll look at it and I'll say, you know what? You crossed 2 major highways, a freeway, and you're in another state.
It's Kansas City, Kansas, not Kansas City, Missouri. You ever comp out there? Oh my gosh. That's wild, bro. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you guys something really important about this topic, by the way. I never get bothered by wholesalers sending me bad deals.
Me neither.
Except for the big wholesalers that know better. And I know who they are. The ones that know better, they're just looking for an idiot and they're looking to pawn a bad property on a stupid person and they're manipulating their buyer.
Yep.
They know better. But 90% of wholesalers actually think that their ARV is appropriate, legitimately. And so what does that pose for you? It poses an opportunity. Most of these wholesalers are watching YouTube. They're watching YouTube. They're learning how to comp on a couple of things. They're not like, it would take multiple times of watching how to comp and practicing, which is why I tell people go watch Straight Outta Comping with Jamil. And instead of consuming, try and beat his ass and say, oh, there's the address. Let me see if I can comp it faster and see what I come up with. That is the only way you're going to learn how to comp, is to actually comp. So it takes practice in order to be great at comping. Okay. It takes practice. And what happens is these wholesalers, they don't mean a lot. They don't mean anything negative by it, but they have just learned how to comp by 1 or 2 YouTube videos. They think it's simple. And then they go out, lock up a deal, they send it out, and they think that that's a deal. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that somebody like you needs to take 5 to 10 minutes and say, hey man, come down to my office, or hey, come down to Starbucks. Let's talk shop. Let's figure out how to JV on some stuff. Let me see what you're thinking. How did you come up with that comp? I'm super curious. It gives you an opportunity to strike up a relationship. Literally, you can build an entire business of just getting on wholesalers lists and building relationships with them and saying, hey, can you tell me how you came up with that? Oh, that's amazing. Great insight. Amazing. And become friends with them. Next thing you know, you're the person in town. Everybody's sending deals to. Like, there's too many ways to make money in this business. And none of them include being mean or rude to anybody.
That's
so
just
build
it. 100% pace. You got to be a nice person to people.
There you go. When you buy a property for fix and flip, do you use the highest ARV possible, or you use the lowest ARV to build some cushion for yourself? Great question. Great question. I always look for the top comp. You know, listen, if I'm going to do a fix and flip, and I don't do a lot of them, and now the only fixing up and that I do is selling to hedge funds. But when I did, I was going to do a really good product. And I was going to see what was going on in that area and make sure that I did something that was really, really, really nice. And so I was going to go with the top sale for my own deals, because that's showing me what people are buying these deals for right now. Maybe even a little bit higher once you get to it, because of appreciation has been bananas over the last, 15 months. So what do you think?
I always go with the high comp.
Yeah.
I think in wholesale, we're selling potential. So I want to show the maximum potential. I don't want to show the crappy comp, or the one that, because look, I'm expecting that the person I'm going to sell my deal to is going to go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
What about you, Pace?
When we wholesale deals?
No, when you guys are doing your fix and flips, do you guys look at the top comp in the neighborhood to base your numbers off of, or the lowest rehabbed one in the neighborhood?
My partner, Cody, always uses the lowest one.
Got it.
Because I'm the buyer. You're asking about for fix and flip, right? So when I'm fixing and flipping, we like to have a nice surprise waiting for us at the end of the project where we make way more money than we planned. And so my partner, Cody, will go in and say, hey, I think if we sell for the lowest comp in the neighborhood, at a teeny little remodel and a refresh, we're going to make 40 grand. This is a safe bet. Let's go in and buy the deal. We go and sell it. It ends up selling for over the top comp, and we make $120,000. We're all surprised and happy, and it's amazing. But my partner, Cody, who underwrites my stuff, is usually looking at the lowest comp in the neighborhood, because there have been times, actually, I have a deal right now where the appraiser chose the lowest comp in the freaking neighborhood and we had to fight him on it. And we couldn't win. So it was either go another month and put it back on the market or just secede and move forward. And I'm glad Cody based it on the lowest comp in the neighborhood. Jamil and I are in these streets fixing and flipping. We know what it's like. So as the buyer, I'm going to protect myself and look at the lowest comp. And I understand that the wholesaler is always going to look at the highest comp. And when we're sending out deals, we're doing the same thing. We're sending out the highest comp saying, hey, this is your potential if you do this style of renovation, or you open up walls, etc. But for us, when we make a decision to take down the project, we actually look at the lowest comp.
Cool. Real quick, what do you guys are speaking at an undisclosed thing in Miami. What are you guys going to talk about? What are people going to hear about?
Pace.
We're going to talk about how relationships will change your life, basically.
Awesome. Are you guys speaking at the same time?
We're going to be on the stage at the exact same time.
The duo.
We're also going to be talking about our journey on how we got there.
Sure.
I think that's it's a testimony to intention and action.
Yeah.
When 3 years ago we had a dream to be in that specific situation,
I know.
and 3 years later we're going to be there soaking that in.
That's it.
Nothing
Awesome.
like it.
Boaz, how do you comp in non-disclosure states?
That's a Jamil
batch
thing.
leads.
Yeah.
Batchleads.io/squadoop. 100%.
That's interesting. So why is that such a common question, Jamil? Why do people keep asking that same question?
Because it's impossible to comp deals in non-disclosure states using Zillow or Redfin, because that information's not published. So non-disclosure means that the state or the people are not required to disclose how much they paid for a property. And oftentimes they opt out of doing it. So the only way to find out how much something is sold for is if a service can tap into the MLS, or if that service is able to find out how much the loan information is on that property, and they can extrapolate what the sales price is based on that. Batch Leads does a blend of both. That's why we trust it for running our comps.
Okay, so what's interesting about this is I think the question is coming from mostly from people who are not paying for software to help them comp. Do you think that that's the thing? Because I've never had a problem comping in non-disclosure states ever. And
Right.
the thing must be because I've just paid the fee to have access to. Is that really the answer?
Yeah, I mean, there's no free service that'll help you comp in non-disclosure states, right? Because it's expensive to get that data. It's very expensive to get that data. And so your free services like Zillow, they're not going to pay to do it because it's not profitable for them. There's no incentive. But when you look at a service like Batch Leads, they are incentivized to give that data because they know their customer base needs that information, and that's why they're paying for it. Hands down.
Say you get a large enough cash out refi on a personal property in order to make upgrades to the home. Would you recommend to invest in your own business before rolling it into a deal?
Bamboo, just call me, bro. I'll answer this question for you. Just call me and I'll walk you through the deal. He has a very specific thing he's going through specifically. Bamboo, just give me a call or shoot me a text. We'll get on a phone call tomorrow.
Is this one of your students?
It is one of my students. It's also
Awesome.
the son. It's the son of that man right there.
Get out of here.
Big
Somebody asked about your poster. I'm like, that's not a poster.
That's not a poster. That is a 32 layered actual commission painting. But yeah, Bamboo, give me a call tomorrow. We'll have a conversation. I'll walk you through it. Jamil, would you recommend Batch Leads over Privy?
I would actually say it's important to blend them both, because here's what happens. You go to Batch Leads and sometimes you can't find the data you're looking for. And sometimes you'll find the data on Privy. Sometimes you'll go to Privy and there's not going to be enough data there, and you go to Batch Leads. Guys, if you're in non-disclosure states, we're talking $100 a month. If you're serious about this business, get serious about the tools that you need to do the business, or go get licensed and not have to have any of these things. But in the meantime, when you're not a realtor and you're trying to get access to the comping tool or the comp information, I use both. I use both. I think it's important because I've been in a deal in Dallas, Texas, and I look at batch leads and there's nothing there, and I'm like, and I see hundreds of houses near it.
Yeah.
So how can batch not get any data here? It's because none was available to batch at the moment. But I go to Privy and it's full, and vice versa. It'll be the same way. I'll go to Privy, there'll be nothing. I'll go to batch leads, it'll be populated. So I use a blend of both.
Love it. I do too. I use
This
both.
has popped up so many times on the
Upstream
show,
and
Jamil, and I don't know how we haven't answered this. I don't quite understand this as well as you do. Do you want to answer this?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Zach Elver asked, an agent presented an exclusive right to buy contract. How can I amend it so the agent is protected, but I'm not tied to just one agent for X amount of time? So what Zach is asking about is the exclusive buyer broker agreement. And how that typically works is an agent who's you might have cold called, or you might have called to say, hey, I'm looking for a property that's in distressed condition. Can you find me something that's dated that I can put an offer on? And they said, yes, but I'm going to send you a document that's going to protect me. So I go out and spend time working for you, but I want you to be able to use me for the deal. Now, here's the problem. Real estate agents are going to try to trap you into a 6-month relationship with them on a blanket buyer broker agreement. And that's when you go, actually, I do so many transactions, or I work with so many different real estate agents in the city that it wouldn't be fair for me to sign an exclusive buyer broker agreement with you. I'm happy to sign a buyer broker agreement with you, but it needs to be property specific.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it. So property specific, Zach. I've had people do it for one day. You know, you want to send me stuff, we can do it for one day, or it's even better for property specific. But most of the time, Zach, when they're going something like this, you're going to want to dig a little bit more into that agent's experience with wholesaling and investors, because they might be really, really new and their broker told them to do that and they just don't know, or they might be like all beat up over years of not doing as many deals as they want. So they're like, I want to make sure that if I do work for you, I'm getting paid. You know, it's just a bad customer service, to be honest. So just dig in a little bit deeper there. That just might be their initial shield of protection, but dig in deeper and see if it's really that important. Referrals.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Agent outreach,
It's not even
CTO
close.
property solutions. Agent outreach costs me nothing. And
Half of the properties in my portfolio came from wholesalers who couldn't do anything with the deals.
Yeah.
It's the return on that is infinite. Knowing a strategy that somebody else doesn't know is an infinite return, and not having to pay for those leads is an infinite return. So
Yes, sir.
that's a marketing strategy. Jamil talking about referrals. It's a marketing strategy. It costs $0. Now, if you are texting in mass quantities to real estate agents, it might cost you a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, your cost per contract doing agent outreach or wholesaler outreach and working either referrals with probate attorneys, referrals from realtors, wholesalers who don't know what the hell they're doing with creative finance, those are infinite returns. Okay.
Yep.
Outside of those things, if I had to choose a marketing method to spend money on, I definitely would not choose direct mail.
No, I would say
we did a direct mail campaign, and today, literally in the mail, I had a stack of returned postcards, and I just look at that. I'm like, 40 cents a freaking postcard, just wasted, wasted. Not only did I have to skip trace them, but then I have to send out the postcards. It's just like, I freaking hate direct mail. Even
Paper
small
clicks up there too.
What's that?
Pay-per clicks up there too.
Yeah, very expensive. Hard for somebody that's barely getting into the business to get really like a lot of momentum, because you spend a lot of money to get a contract. My feeling on pay-per-click, if you're going to start out brand new and you're not good at closing contracts and you're not ready to close those deals that are coming in, those leads are too expensive to gamble on whether you're going to close them or not. This is why cold calling and texting, door knocking, those three, driving for deals, are always going to be the 4 best return on your investment, because you're not overspending in order to generate leads. And when you fail to close a contract, it's just practice, but it's not a loss of money. If you're doing direct mail or pay-per-click when you're just starting, you not only got a lot of practice and wasted you didn't waste time, you got a lot of practice, but you spent a lot of freaking money.
Yep.
So stay
Somebody
away
asked,
from the.
do you have a VA reach out to agents?
Not my favorite way to do it, because I'll be honest,
That is
it's tough
rough.
if an agent wants to get on the phone and have a conversation. But if it's the only way, if you don't have the time, and
They have time.
but if they don't have the time,
168 hours. I don't believe it. 168 hours in a week.
you
They can
should
find an hour.
you should be doing the agent outreach yourself, 1000%. Because look, an agent is a sophisticated real estate professional in most cases.
They will chew
and
up.
they will chew up a VA most of the time. But it depends on how well the VA is, right? Because I know too that Start Virtual, they're training VA specifically on how to deal with agents, right? And so because they're doing
that, our VAs specifically tell the real estate agent, "Hey, I represent a company looking for X, Y, and Z." They never represent themselves as the buyer. Because that you're right, agents see through that so quickly. They want to talk to a real principal, right?
Yep.
So that's, make sure that you're
Make
working,
a pass, let them know, filter
exactly,
through, then get on
and
the
work
phone.
with the right company. Don't go get some $3 an hour VA who doesn't know what they're doing. Like, really work with somebody that's training the people correctly so that they're actually having meaningful conversations or setting appointments for you. That's it. And that would just be a setter. Your VA in that sense would be a setter for you. They're just setting an appointment. They're not representing anything. They're not trying to be a buyer. They're setting an appointment for you to call that person back later on.
Love it.
Hey, Aldo, where can I find some good cold calling script? Go to talktopeople.com. Or what do you guys have? TTPinsider.com?
TTPinsider.com. Yep.
TTPinsider.com.
A ton of resources for you there.
Quashawn Carter, I'm gonna make this one really simple for you. Look in the comments. I just gave you a YouTube video where we broke down memorandums and Liz Pendens with an actual real estate attorney named Sean St. Clair. That YouTube link that I just threw in there will give you an hour and a half specifically about memorandums and Liz Pendens from Sean St. freaking Clair.
There you go.
Yeah. Most of the scripts are based off of TTP. I would say most of the scripts I see out there are also
because he's the
renditions
guy
of Brent Daniels.
He's the guy.
Listen, it goes back to that great question. What's the best ROI? The best ROI is use this thing. This thing, it will literally make you millions. You know what I mean? Call agents, call ugly houses, call other wholesalers, call title companies, call hard money lenders, call the guys that bid down at the foreclosure auctions, call the guys that buy properties from tax sales, whatever it is, find as many people as possible. If you want to really build a big, heavy bank account, with getting these assignment fees or flips or whatever else to help fund all the other exciting things that you want to do, building the portfolio, expanding and scaling your business, paying off your consumer debts. All of those things happen with big piles of money. And you get that from this thing all day. If you want to have one habit, this is the habit. It's not looking at it, it's using it and having a really great, fun, exciting, energetic, personal tone. Like that's what you want. And just do it every single day. And is there repetitious boredom? Absolutely. That's how you become a millionaire. It is.
God, being a rich person is boring.
Yeah. It's the same thing over and over and
again.
focusing
My
and
life
focusing
is
and focusing and
routine.
That's it. That's it. I think that's it.
Yeah. Pace, tell them again what you're doing right after.
Guys, I did a 4-hour Zoom yesterday all about raising private capital. Did it for free. I just get a lot of questions about people saying, how do I raise private capital? Where do I find these people? So I broke them down into personality types: whales, sharks, dolphins, swimmers, gators, and camels. And I came up with personality types, where to find these animals, who they are, what they're asking for, all that kind of stuff. Everybody had a blast. And unfortunately, that I planned on it being 4 hours and it should have been 6. I ran out of time. And so tonight I'm going to do 1 more hour tonight, just finishing it off. And I have $10,000 that I'm giving away tonight as well. That's left over from last week. Last week, Jamil and I gave away a $12,000 car on Wednesday night.
Oh yeah.
It was dope. I delivered it. We turned it into a YouTube video. The guy just cried his eyes out.
Mr. Clifford.
Clifford. He has cancer, couldn't afford his car payment, sold his car a year ago. He's been basically taking the bus for the last year. So we gave that car away last Wednesday. That was great. And then Friday, we gave away $10,000 also to Christina Solara in the audience. Wire transferred the money to her. Tonight, we're going to be giving away another $10,000 on that live. Why? Why am I doing that? Because I refinanced out one of my sub twos. And instead of paying my church 10%, I'm basically donating 10% of my earnings from that back into our audience. It's essentially my tithing. Let's just say it that way. So
love that.
Yeah, it's great. So guys, we are going to start that here in just a couple of minutes. What do you guys have going on this week?
And that's right. Look at God. That's 1000% right. Look at God. Look at God working through Pace and everybody else here. Incredible, Pace. You're the man. Personally, I've got something going on Friday, 3 p.m. with Ryan Zolan, and we're going to teach you how to get 10 offers out every single day. Look, guys, if you haven't got your first deal yet, if you've got no system, if you got no process, if you don't know how to get 10 offers out before you wipe your ass in the morning, click on the link, okay, for my air meet. It's right here. We are going to show you how to get 10 quality offers out every single day so you can get your deals done.
That's awesome.
Friday at 3 p.m.
Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go live for 2 hours answering all of your questions. So make sure that you jump on there. If you had a question that wasn't answered here, make sure that you join us on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Thursday, we have a guy that is going to blow your face off with Ryan Zolan and I do a show called Millionaire Before 30. This guy was a millionaire before 20.
Woo!
And is just going bananas. This dude is on his way to really rarefied air. So make sure that you join us Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Brent Daniels YouTube channel. Pace.
Guys, we already have, oh, sorry. I think I'm muted. Hold on a second. Let me pop up on here.
There you go.
Hey guys, I have already on this Zoom, 750 people on this Zoom. So come on over here. We'll end up having about 1,500 people. It'll be a blast. I'll see you guys over at that live. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. See you later.
See you later.
Or just say squat up.